Hello? Mod got an update this morning, so I'm doing some field testing here. How are you guys doing? Seems like a lot of the soft locks have been fixed. Like, I was kind of wanting to upload a regular video today instead of streaming because I'm like really tired. haven't been feeling well mentally, but it's like, if I'm gonna be essentially beta testing this mod, I might as well just stream it, right? There's no performance expectations when I stream versus when I put up an actual video. So I just wanted to play for a little bit and see if it's more stable, because the instability was kind of making me not want to do videos of this for a while. Make sure everything's all good before I commit to like doing videos for this. So it's messing with the game a lot. It's messing with the functionality of the game a lot. A lot of things kind of break when you start messing with both the frame rate and then the way that the weapon system works, like, all at once. Cause a lot of problems. It's like when you take new medication. You know, it's not going to kill you, but there's going to be complications, so you gotta monitor things. That's pretty much what this game is like right now. It's definitely a lot better because of the mods, though. I hated the hyper armor in this game. It's very unfun. There's actually some more mods that I found, but I'm like potentially not. I'm not installing them right now because I'm trying to help the author beta test this stuff. I don't think too many people care about null affinity, but I do. This game just kind of falls flat when you start trying to do style play on it. I don't miss the mechanics at all. The only thing I really miss is Storm Rush. I didn't really care for the weapon count or anything. Man is faster than a horse by wave dashing like this. It's a lot harder on the hands though to play this character, especially because you have to hold down the switch attack button all the time when you got the katana out. Even kind of, he doesn't get tired, but you do. no stamina bar, but it definitely is a little taxing to play like this. That's why I like switch out characters. Don't get so exhausted so fast. Gives your thumb a real workout, that's for sure. Do I stream it? Not right now, no. Maybe, maybe once I'm done with this. But I've legit done the start of that game like 6 times now, so I'm a little fatigued. I played the CN version. I spent my fair share of money on it. And then they just stopped updating it to make this new version. And I'm not a big fan of it. It's too dumbed down. They They have made some positive changes for sure, but the beginning of that game is starting to become like, you know, like speedrunning streams where they do the start of the game like over and over again. It's starting to become like that for me because I've done it like 6 times. I did the Chinese beta, and then I did the full release. I did the full release of the 1.0 version, so I had to start over again there, and then I've done like 3 betas, so I'm really tired of doing the beginning. I was more interested in this open beta if they weren't gonna wipe again, but they are, so it's like, dude, I've done this so many times. I've only got so much patience to give. I can be pretty patient, but I've got my limits. I've done it like so many times now. Yeah, it's a little bit weird that they're doing an open beta and they're still wiping. Like I don't understand the rationale behind that at all. Open beta implies that you're not going to be wiping anymore. You're going to stop wiping. The new character, the Ice Lady, actually gives me a lot of hope that they'll just copy PGR and Honkai Impact, which are the games that Peak of Combat is most similar to, where, you know, when they started those games, PGR gets a lot of praise in the sweaty action game gacha communities for good reason. It's a good game, but you gotta not have the bias because PGR is very susceptible to having the same problems that Peak of Combat has, where like the beginning characters are very boring to play. They just don't have much depth because they're trying to make a new combat system, and they have to kind of work within the limitations of that. And they get better at it later on. Like, the beginning PGR characters, before they get their leaps, are, like, really boring to use. The new ones are, like, way more interesting. So, I've definitely got some copium that they will fix Peak of Combat in time. But there's no sugarcoating it, it's really dumbed down from the way it was before. But they're getting endless complaints about it, so I don't know how they plan to address that. The easiest way is to just do it like PGR and Honkai, which are pretty much very similar games in how they work. You know, the beginning characters that you get at the start are like not very interesting to play. They're very vanilla. And then later on, they'll start, like, taking the training wheels off because they realize that all the casuals are long gone. It's the most likely outcome. We'll see what happens. Well, that's part of the reason why they turned it into a true gacha, because 1.0 was... that game was not a gacha at all. You had Dante and Lady were free characters. And then you had Virgil, who was your standard, you know, you had a better chance of, like, winning the lottery at your supermarket than... or, like, getting a lottery ticket, one of those, like, small claims ones that's, like, $200 or something. He had a better chance of winning those than getting Virgil. The gacha was pretty much strictly just the weapons. The weapons were not stat sticks. They were essentially unlocking moves. So they were stat sticks, but they were more interesting than that, because they gave you new moves. And some of the moves were useless, yes, but a lot of them gave you a lot of utility, so they were worth chasing. But it just wasn't making money. The game had no pity system for like a year. You could tell they were like grasping at straws of like, how did we made it? We really did make like the best action game on mobile, but we don't know how to make money, so we're just gonna give the weapons a really shitty rate and no pity, so that nobody wanted to spend money. People will spend a lot of money on gachas, even money they don't actually have. Money they shouldn't be spending on video games. They'll spend the money if there's a pity. If there's not a pity, a lot of people will get chased away. That's one of the reasons why I play PGR. It's because there's a hard pity of 60 pulls. And like just buying the monthly card and the stamina card every month, I can get every S-rank character. It's like a minimal amount of money, and I'm actually getting my money's worth because I'm getting guaranteed results. I'm not gambling. That's a huge difference. Peak of Combat 1.0 is basically just straight gambling. The only pity they had in the game was if you got the weapon you didn't want, and you went again, they would give you the next one. They'd give you the one you wanted the next time. But that's shit pity. They also had pay-to-win stuff in the game as well. I never hear anybody address that because they didn't actually play the game. Everything that's not the combat in 2.0 it's a much better game. The pity is pretty fair. You can unlock most things without paying. Weapons are just stat sticks, which is boring, yes, but you're not missing like essential parts of your character's kits because you're not spending money. I just don't like when people say go back to 1.0, because when people say that, I know that they didn't actually play the game. And I get that it was a hard game to access. I managed to do it legit, but going back to 1.0 is not the solution. It's not. I can tell, like, okay, you guys didn't... I know for a fact you guys didn't watch this game. You didn't play the game, let alone watch it. 1.0, the only good thing about it was the combat. The service game components of it sucked. Most sane people don't want to just gamble on stuff. They want to make sure that if they spend their hard-earned money on it, they're getting at least something. You can't just have, like, no pity at all. That's exactly how that game was. The only thing in the game that had a hard pity, meaning if you spent, you're guaranteed to get what you want, was the Virgil banner. So like most people that played the game, whether they spent money or not, had a decked out Virgil because it didn't make sense to spend on anything else. That was the problem. If you spent on Virgil, you got him guaranteed. It was an insane amount of money, but for the people that have that kind of disposable income, I guess it was more attractive than trying to go for a legendary weapon. They only had 2 weapons per banner too, so and there were a lot of them. There were like a good like 15 or so per character, so you could be waiting a long time to get one you wanted. They also had stuff that was blatantly pay-to-win as well, and I never hear anybody talk about that because they didn't play the game, or they only watch clickbait channels that play it for an hour and say it's the best thing ever. That game had a lot of pay-to-win stuff. There were elemental books that you could buy, like gems that you could get, and they would give you an insane amount of damage. And the thing about that was the Bloody Palace was ranked, so if you were competing with whales and you were a dolphin or complete free-to-play, like you couldn't win. You couldn't rank high at all. People were like one-shotting bosses and stuff because they bought all that stuff, and I didn't, so I had to get by with mostly skill. I did spend on the game, but I didn't buy those packages. It was blatantly pay to win. The way that they have it now is a lot better. I think it'll be more like PGR, where people who don't pay or are dolphins, meaning they spend like a minimal amount of money, should actually be able to compete. No, it did not have cooldowns at all. It was pretty much the real deal. How many hours do I have on this game? That's a loaded question, because I've played like different versions of this. No, there were no cooldowns. Dante could use Navan and just, like, clear the Bloody Palace with, like, one button. If you spent enough money. I just get tired of the false narrative around that game. I get sick of it. It was pay to win, and the monetization was awful. The only good thing about it was the combat. And it also went on, like, maintenance mode for, like, a year, so... That was the other problem as well that you don't hear people talk about because they didn't actually play the game. It's not normal for... It's not normal for a service game to go on maintenance mode for literally like a year straight. That killed the game's chance at success too, because if you ever played a service game before, doesn't matter if it's on mobile or PC or console or anything, if they don't update for more than like 2 or 3 months, then the game is dead. It's not gonna stick around. And you're actively wasting your time playing it. Which is exactly what happened. I mean, the game didn't die per se, it's basically just, they just left it on maintenance mode so that they could make the new version. But it alienated people who spent time and money on it. Like, at least add an event or, like, a new weapon or something. Don't just leave it the way it is for, like, a year. And wonder why the game is failing. It's like, well, yeah. You have to have things going on in the game. Otherwise, people won't stick around. Because people with half a brain aren't going to spend time and money in the game if it hasn't been updated in months. It's supposed to be out this year, yeah. Yeah, those Pika combat videos did pretty well, better than I was expecting. That game had a lot of clickbait channels attracted to it, and they like don't actually play the game. They just play the first hour and say it's the best thing ever. I actually played the damn game, so I got rewarded with some views. Yeah, I was kind of shocked how much that video still gets viewed after, like, all these hours. All these, it's been like over a year since I put up that video. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you actually play a game that people aren't playing. They just latch on to it for the day one views, and they don't actually play it. I honestly get tired of the commentary regarding that game. It's like, dude, if you say they need to put the old version back, you clearly did not play it. Or at least watch anybody that actually played the game and didn't just sign up for an account and play it for a day and then move on to the next big gacha game that's going to get the views. Clearly, it's blatantly obvious. Because, man, the only good thing about that game was the gameplay. Honestly surprised there weren't videos about how long it went on maintenance mode, because that's like always a big thing that will get people to watch a video, talk about the decline of a game, how long it's been on maintenance mode. That was a straight year of maintenance mode. Like a really long time. Last thing they added was like the story chapter and a couple weapons. Nothing really substantial. Nothing that made you want to log in every day and play, that's for sure. What's up, Fuma? Thanks for your contributions to my Discord. I don't always comment, but I've been looking at those. It's very good stuff, thank you. Saw the Virgil combo today, yeah. I don't know why that video is doing so well. This proves that the other people that covered the game didn't actually play it. But that's common on these parts. Creators just latch on to stuff because the algorithm likes it, which I can't blame anyone for doing that, but I feel like that's part of the reason there's such a narrative that 1.0 was like this legendary game that couldn't be touched. Like, that couldn't be farther from the truth. That could not be farther from the truth. Peak of Combat is very similar to a lot of the best Tales games, like Xillia 2. Or like, the only good thing about that game is the gameplay, right? They basically just took Xillia 1 and they fixed the combat, but it's basically just an asset flip. Like, the only reason to really play that game is the combat. It has very few other redeeming qualities, especially if you care about the story, because good lord, the story in Tales of Xillia 2 is dreadful. But it has some of the best gameplay, so if you're a gameplay person, it's one of the best games in the series. But you can't ignore that, like, every other aspect of the game is lacking. How am I? Fine, other than being stressed about money. You can go read my community post if you want to know about that. I don't really feel like talking about it. But this is pretty much the last month I'm going to have to pay. Next month is the last month I'll have to pay this computer bill. And then I should have a lot more financial freedom, but I'm going to have to rely on my community for the next few weeks. Full disclosure. The FF16 looks decent. Looks decent enough. And I can't really have an opinion on it because they don't deem PC peasants like me worthy. That game will probably be a lot better with mods like this game I'm playing right now, so I'm not too worried about it. No, it's exclusivity. Hearing the other problem with Final Fantasy 16 is they want to use direct storage, and I think that only works on Windows 11. No, they actually said that they want to use direct storage to make the loading seamless, but it's harder to do that on PC versus console, where everybody has the same hardware. I can believe that. There's like not many games that use direct storage on PC. Good example is the Spider-Man game ports. Like those are based on the PS5 version, so the requirements for the processor for those games is like way higher than it should be, because the processor is having to do all the streaming instead of it being on, direct storage, which is how they do it on the new consoles. But I can't believe that. It's not marketing bullshit. But yeah, they do have an exclusivity window, so that's obviously part of it as well. Well, they made Final Fantasy 16 like review-proof, from what I heard. They made it so like the worst journalist could beat the game, and that's why it's getting such high reviews. But I've heard from numerous people in my community and my hardcore gamer friend circle that like, if you want to really enjoy that game's combat, you got to play it twice. They made it like really hard to fail, and that's why it's getting like 9s out of 10s and stuff. It's review proofing. It's a very common practice these days, review proofing. That's because games cost so much money to make now, they can't like possibly have it fail. They have to make sure that everybody, your trained goldfish could beat it. At least they have a New Game Plus in the game, which is nice. A lot of games don't even ship with that these days, so the game is like review-proofed, and it's too easy for people that actually know what they're doing or have prior experience. And then they make you wait like 6 months for a New Game Plus. Well, they kind of have to. I mean, have you seen the credits for Final Fantasy 16? After the ending, there's like, it's like legit like half an hour of credits. They had hundreds of people on that game. They have to make their money back. The way that they do that now is they make the first playthrough piss easy, so that anybody can beat it. The problem with that is it's not a problem that they're making it more accessible. The problem is that games are getting longer, and they're wasting more and more of your time. So, most people only have time to play a JRPG once. So it kind of sucks that, like, yeah, we made this so easy so that we would get good reviews, but, you know, if you want to actually enjoy the gameplay, you gotta play it twice. And, like, not everyone has time for that. Because JRPGs are some of the most time-consuming games out there. It doesn't help that they're so story-focused, too, so the gameplay is, like, not the only component, unlike something like what I'm playing right now. But, like, the gameplay is the only thing that matters. Especially for this franchise, because it's basically just the same story over and over. I always tell people, like, watch the cutscenes in Dynasty Warriors 7, and then don't bother watching them again, because it's the same thing over and over. But this is like a short, digestible game that you can play for, you know, 20-30 minutes a day and make progress. It's not like this massive time investment. It is over time, yes. This game is really grindy, but it's not like, you know, I lost interest in this game and I never know what's going to happen in the story. I'm not going to get a meaningful conclusion because I don't have, like, you know, you might not have 80 hours to play through a game to completion. But you can play something like this, which just... I've made progress doing this just now. I've only been playing for like 40 minutes. Ouch. Oh, hey, thank you for the donation. Sorry, I'm not super donation focused, okay? I need them. I need them right now, yes, but I don't have, like, standing ovations on the screen. I just saw your donation, thank you. Thank you for that. I might go get myself something to eat in a little bit. Thank you. Things have been hard with the heat, for one. I started having heat-related symptoms, as it was like over 100 degrees here for like a week. And then I've had some personal stuff that's made it so I've had to eat out more. And then I had all my bills and shit to pay, so it's been a difficult month already. So thanks to anybody who chooses to support, but do not do so if you can't support yourself first. I'm not that important. Thank you. Yes. Sometimes I tell people to just tell me that they donated because I don't really look at it. Yes. The Game Awards are pretty much just ads, Hunter. The only reason anybody smart watches the Game Awards is for the announcements. I think Streets of Rage 4 was like the best action game that came out that year. But like other stuff won instead. It's like it doesn't really matter. You have to think about how many normies are watching those award ceremonies and how they don't really have any good taste in games, or they don't look at outside the box of like things that are probably better than the popular stuff, but they don't have like $200 million marketing budgets and big channels playing them. I think you just have to, these days you just have to have peace with the fact that a lot of the good shit is not popular. It's just how it's always been. It hasn't changed. This is not just video games either, but like movies and comic books and just regular ass textbooks. Like, a lot of the popular stuff is not very good, or there's less popular stuff that's better. And the popular stuff might not be bad, but it's not the best stuff that you can find. Alright, I want to continue this, or I want us to start doing some combo testing. Actually, that's kind of why I was doing this. Doing some combo testing. Let's see here. I got a couple decent weapons made, but I need some more, let's try to make some weapons right now, actually.
Yeah.
Well, this one's actually pretty good by itself, huh? I think it's more that they understand, but their spending has just gotten out of control. Games are costing as much as, like, movies now. So when that happens, a lot of originality and actual difficulty in the game, and not treating every player like a toddler, that stuff's just gonna go away. Because they have to make so much money just to make ends meet. The credits for Final Fantasy XVI are legit like half an hour long. I won't go into the story. I did watch the ending of that game, but like, it felt like if you actually wanted to watch the credits of that game, you'd have to legit free up like another half hour of time. Like you couldn't beat the final boss in that game with only like 30 minutes of free time. You'd have to do that shit like right when you got off work. Like you couldn't knock that out in a lunch break. The credits are like insanely long. And that just tells you how expensive things are getting. Their spending is out of control. It's always funny when like something like Vampire Survivors comes along, made by like one guy. The graphics suck. It legit looks like a Flash game. But it's more profitable than those big games. It's just funny. You gotta laugh at the AAA industry when stuff like that happens. No money for marketing, no money for graphics, or anything. That game has to carry itself on gameplay, and it has, and it's probably more profitable than a lot of these big games that are coming out now. You just have to point and laugh at how pathetic that is. That game looks marginally better than a lot of Newgrounds Flash games I used to play when I was a kid. And then you see stuff like Redfall, that new game that came out. You know, completely bombed. It's making no money. The Saints Row game as well, another good example. How much money they spent on that. And there's like indie games that are making more money. I like it when people say you shouldn't skip the credits of video games because so many people worked hard on them. I'm like, yeah, there's some There's some legitimacy to that statement, but also the credits are like longer than movies now. Like, I mean, some people beat games at like 4 in the morning and they got work in the morning. Like, they don't have time to watch that shit. I mean, I'm in the credits of several indie games, and I don't, like, fault people for skipping them. It's like, you got shit to do, that's fine. You can always take my word for it that I'm in the credits of those games. But I am in the credits of indie games, not like big name stuff like this, so credits in those are more digestible for sure, but I totally get it. Alright, I think I'm gonna order some food with the $20 I was donated. I think I'm gonna do that. I can't really go into why I've had to eat out a lot. I basically explained most of it. There's another factor that I can't really go into, but the support is greatly appreciated regardless. I was able to buy groceries, so once that situation clears up, things will be a lot easier. I'm also not spending much on the channel this month either. It's pretty much going to be $30 for Double Dragon, or however much that game costs, and then $15 for Gravity Circuit. That comes out on the 13th. Other than that, I'm kind of just playing shit I already own, so thanks to the people who support. It's definitely needed. I'm not, like, secretly living in a mansion here, alright? I'm not secretly living in a mansion. I don't have, like, 10 cars in the front yard. I'm, like, really, really broke right now, so thanks to the people who choose to help. The thing should be clearing up soon. It's just kind of out of my control right now. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of weapons. I made a bunch of weapons for my normal favorites. I want to play them with the combo mod, but I didn't exactly leave this game in the best state. I didn't really have a lot of stuff grounded out, so kind of just working with what I've got right now. I'm not really wanting to cheat either, because I'm kind of getting ready for a combo video by doing this training anyway, so cheating's not really in my best interest at the moment. I'd rather do it as legit as I can. Alright. Cash to max him out, so we'll try him for a little bit. Put it back down on Chaos. He's not as good. I don't know how to sugarcoat it. This guy is one of my favorite characters, but he's always moveset challenged. He has a permanent moveset impairment. I don't really think he's ever had a good moveset. I mean, this is kind of the best moveset he's ever had, really. But he's either stuck as a clone, or he has the tonfas, and the tonfas suck. That's pretty much his career. I think he's actually the best in Orochi 4, just because you can change the treasure, and you can use that vortex one that pulls them back. It actually fixes a lot of problems with this moveset, because a lot of his stuff knocks them away, so you have to really spec him around damage. If you try to play him with style, he kind of can't do much. But I found a decent combo here. I'm going to go ahead and try this a little bit. One of my favorite weapons, I like a majority of the weapons, well, the fast ones. But this game has a lot of really shit movesets, so... This game is the epitome of too much of a good thing. It has... This is the first game to ever have, like, no clone movesets at all. They have no moveset clones, but you can tell that they were really starting to grasp at straws at a certain point. A lot of the movesets really suck, so it's like, either you give the character another weapon, or you just accept that your favorite character has a shit moveset. Which is not an easy thing to do for some people. Like, I like this character, but I'm not gonna I'll be the first to tell you he usually has the worst movesets. Almost every game he's in. I really wanted him to get the tonfas back in, like, Dynasty Warriors 9 DLC, but that didn't happen. They gave him that bunk-ass pizza cutter, and the moveset sucks balls. Honestly, I never really understood why this character was ever even a unique. He should have always been a clone, because he always dies like a chump in like the first 3 hours of the game, so... Logistically, it does not make sense for this character to ever even have a unique moveset, especially something as cool as tonfas, because you don't get to use tonfas much in video games. There's pretty much like Talum and Soul Calibur. There's both Neo games, you can use the tonfas in those, and like, there's not much else. It's disproportionate moveset coolness for a character that's not very relevant. But I really like using martial arts stuff in video games, so he's always been one of my favorites, but he dies like a chump in like pretty much every Dynasty Warriors game. He's not very relevant. Yeah, they gave him this big pizza cutter and he shares it with like 2 other characters and no one likes that moveset. It's trash. This game was pretty much, look, we gave everybody a unique weapon. There's no more clones anymore, so nobody can complain. But a lot of the movesets are trash, so you have some kind of attachment to that character or that type of weapon, you might be disappointed. But, right, they got rid of all the clones, which was a big problem. Just like any other kind of relationship, you gotta consider what they're bringing to the table. You might be better off looking for someone else. That's kind of how this game is. Like, hey, we made everybody unique, but a lot of the movesets are complete buns and they're not worth using. So, you gotta weigh how much that part of the relationship with the character means to you. For some people it's everything, for some people it's nothing. They're just happy their character has a weapon to use. This character's pretty much never had a good moveset. I would say this is the best one that he's had. But he's better in Orochi 4 just because you can use the Sacred Treasures to get around his weaknesses. The fact that he pushes people away a lot. No, Fuma, I just saw your comment. Yeah, the people that actually make these games want to put out something good. The problem is there's suits of the company that are, you know, the only thing that works in their brain is just acquiring more money. So, you get situations where testers actually find stuff that's broken in these games, and they tell them to just fucking release it anyway, because they want their fiscal year to look good. Which is why we've had so many garbage PC ports this year. You notice how they all came out in the first 3 months of the year? Like, the Jedi Survivor game, The Last of Us, Redfall. Like, those are all, like, supposed to be, like, massive games. And they're all broken. I can guarantee you. The testers found that stuff. Like, hey, the game runs like shit on PC. Or, like, the AI pathfinding doesn't work. Or there's this major glitch. And it's like, well, they find it. They find it, yes. And I can tell you that because I have done focus testing in my 20s. When I got out of high school, I did several focus tests. And they're all shit games. And we told them those games were shit. But they didn't care. They didn't care. It makes you question why they even bother to pay a bunch of broke-ass millennials straight out of high school with no money to go focus test those games if you're not going to listen. What's the point? You're just throwing more money away. The focus groups can actually make you a good amount of money, at least video game ones can, but it's just funny that they don't listen. It's like, why are you even doing this? Why are you contracting out these buildings and businesses and stuff that pay broke asses like me to go? We're just looking for a quick paycheck to survive. Why are you paying us if you're not gonna fucking listen? Doesn't make sense. That's the problem with being able to patch video games. There's some legitimacy to games being better when you couldn't patch them. I definitely believe some of that is true. It's not entirely true. Lots of good things have come from being able to patch video games, but it's made it so you can release a shit product and fix it later, and then sell the game for like half off, and people will just forget. They just kind of wipe it under the carpet. Cyberpunk, perfect example. That game was so bad that they had to stop selling it on PS4 and Xbox One because it didn't fucking work. They had to literally stop selling it. And now people are saying it's like the best comeback game. It's like it should have been that from the start. It's fucking $60, like, there's no excuse for it. It doesn't matter that they fixed it. The principle is that they knew that they could release something that doesn't work, and fix it later, and people will say, oh, great comeback, great job, guys. Fuck that. That game did not work at launch. They had to legit give refunds, because it's so broken. Batman Arkham Knight on PC is another prime example. They had to stop selling that game because the port was so broken. And people with the best components at the time couldn't run it. And like, oh, we deeply apologize. We're gonna take the game offline and fix it. They really didn't fix that much. I'll tell you, most of the things that got fixed with that game is just computer tech getting better. It's like the Steam Deck can run that game better than computers at launch in 2015. You can look up videos of Batman Arkham Knight on Steam Deck. It's pretty eye-opening. They did fix it a little bit, but not enough. Not enough to just get fully waived of any guilt of shipping something that doesn't work. They definitely did not do that much work on it. Yeah, so you can just release an anime and be absolved of all your sins with releasing a shit game that doesn't work. That sends a bad message. That sends a shit message. I'm sorry. I don't know how to sugarcoat it other than that. Okay, we put an anime on Netflix, so now we're cool, right? Like, no, you're not. Not in my book. I'm dead. Let's play some Orochi for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and order my food, because I have not eaten all day. I will definitely come back after I eat. But, I'm gonna go ahead and use that donation to get some food. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to make him work with the combo mod, but he's always struggled with being a functional character. He sucks in pretty much every game. Alright, they're gonna be here in like 20 minutes. It's more like half an hour. Alright. We'll continue the combo video grind later. I guess I can play something else for a little bit. Let's see, what do I got that's bite-sized? I don't want to, like, start something really long. I just want to chill for a bit while I wait for the food to come. What do we got here? I should explain for people that are watching, because there's people in here I don't recognize. Uh, there's a mod that was released for Dynasty Warriors 8XL earlier in the week that makes it so there is no hyper armor. So there's no storm rush, there's no weapon counter or anything. All that's removed. So if you like style play, it's an objective improvement. But at the same time, not having Storm Rush is going to make the game harder, because that's one of the easiest ways to group enemies together and get Muso meter and everything. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making weapons for my favorite characters, and I'm kind of trying them out with the mod. And then I'll probably put out like some exclusive videos and then a combo video later, because I don't know if I'll be able to do Gravity Circuit, because it comes out in like 3 days, and I don't have the cash for it right now. But I will be doing Double Dragon at the end of the month. So until then, I just kind of just playing random stuff. So that's what I'm doing. It might have not been inherently clear, but I'm kind of just like messing around right now. Pretty much, yeah. And since my save file that I maxed out most of the stuff on is long gone, because the game doesn't have Steam Cloud, I kind of had to start from scratch, or mostly from scratch. So I'm kind of working around that right now. I guess we can play another Muso game. Let's see here. Hey, why do you guys not have visuals? That's weird. Might need to oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Just making sure I'm not streaming a sensor screen. To make sure. My recording software has been a little bipolar lately. I beat Dragon Quest Heroes, yeah. The biggest problem I had with that game was the HP sponge enemies. Everything in that game had way more health than it needed. The thing had a ridiculous amount of health. And a lot of the movesets sucked too. The martial artist moveset was like the best. Everything else felt so slow and clunky. It was a good game though. But I definitely played through like the second half of it with like a 20% damage multiplier. That made it a lot less frustrating to play. It felt like you just had to grind a lot in that game to make it smooth, which is weird because the story had pretty good pacing. You could kind of just play through it and not really have to do a lot of menial tasks to get to the next story beat, but everything just had too much health in that game. That was my biggest complaint with it. Like, dude, this mid-boss does not need like 5 billion HP. It's okay. It's still challenging. It's still challenging. They don't need like 8 billion health. What was the good one that was... yeah, I like doing this one.
This smells quite promising.
Hello.
Exquisite. My turn. Inferno. Be still. Be still. Listen. Lightning. Be still. Inferno. Be still.
How's the quality for this? I got the 60 FPS mod on right now. It's a little choppy on my end. It might be compiling shaders because I haven't played this that much. Might be my monitor freaking out. Let me know how it is.
Be still. Inferno. I'm ready. Free. Be still. Lightning. Free. Be prepared. If I must. Lightning.
GG's. This game does hyper armor right. They don't juggle. They don't juggle, but you can control them. I actually really like the officer fights in this game. It's different from usual Musou, where you just combo them to death if you're good enough. You can still do that. That's what I really liked about this game. Like, yeah, you're not knocking them all around the screen and juggling them in the air, but you still have control over them. You're not just hitting a wall. There's lots of ways that you can interact with them. I think this game did officer fights really well. They feel like actual boss fights, for one, and then you can still... they're not just walls of armor. only some other games could actually learn from that game. Like, yeah, you can have hyper armor, and it's not the end of the world. It's just most of the time it is, because they don't balance those fights out properly, so it just feels like most of your mechanics are stripped away from you. The game isn't fun. And like, you saw, I was parrying him and locking him down. Like, yes, he doesn't juggle, but it's still like actually two-sided in terms of you can actually still stagger them. It's interesting how often they miss the mark. Can still be challenging, you know, even if they do stagger. But if they're not going to stagger, they should at least not strip all the fun out of the game.
Which battle do you wish to reflect on?
The fight starts now. Shall we?
Do you want me to lay an ambush?
You got my back? I'll do it. Now it is my turn. I will aid you. Take a breather.
Yeah, V is, he's definitely the game journalist character. A good example of having good intentions with game design, but completely dropping the ball. He's not fun to play. And even if you like him, you can't deny that he can't deny that he just has less to work with. I hated playing as that character. Actively one of the worst experiences I've ever had playing a DMC game is being forced to play him. Just a dreadful character.
My turn at last. My turn.
How's this looking? It's really laggy on my end. Doesn't look 60 to me, like the pacing is all messed up. This game was running fine before, I don't know what it is. Might be my drivers. I'll look into it later, I'm too hungry and tired to do it now. I don't know why that's happening. Let me see if I can fix it. Yeah, I don't know why it's not. It says it's 60, but the frame pacing or something is wrong. Let's see here. I mean, it's my own dump of the game that I dumped from my legal copy, so it's not a case of, what's it called? It's not a case of having a bad dump of the game. All my Switch games are legally dumped. They're all games that I bought legally and I dumped them myself, so they're straight from my personal collection of Switch games that I bought, so that's not the problem. It's either the emulator or something's wrong with my drivers. Let me try that one more time. Let me see, when's the last time they put out a driver update? Let me see. I might need to, like, clean my drivers or something. That's probably what it is. That's definitely not happening this stream, though. My food's gonna be here soon anyway. I'm just trying to troubleshoot. So that's the whole point of playing it on emulators. It doesn't run like shit like the actual hardware. Yeah, I'm outdated by like almost a month. I'll try updating the driver later. Oh, my food's gonna be here. I'm gonna have to go, guys. We'll test this later. I'll come back after I eat, alright? I'll see you guys in a bit. They're gonna be here very soon. I just looked at my phone. It's too immersed in the gaming. But yeah, my food's gonna be here. Thank you for the $20 donation. I really need help right now, so I'm gonna have to be a little annoying and post my link and stuff. Today I'm just using it for dinner because I haven't eaten all day, but we'll come back. And in the meantime, while I'm gone, I'll update my drivers and see if I can fix Yuzu. I pay for the early access for Yuzu, so I'm sure I can get help from them if I need it. But yeah, it's not a bad dump. It's not a bad dump. It's something else is wrong. So I'll try like wiping my drivers later. I'll probably just play regular Muso games later, so I don't have to do any tech support. I'm under a lot of stress, financial stress and stuff, so I don't want to mold over computer shit right now. I'll probably play some more Dynasty Warriors 8 and some other games that just work for now. I'll see you guys later tonight.